welcome you back after the Carnival season. And this morning we are still chatting a bit about the Carnival here in Tobago and that national Carnival and what that looks like for us here on the island. This morning, as we have that postmortem discussion, I have the privilege of sitting in studio and chatting with Mrs. Marcelin Nedd of Marcelin Nedd Band and Associates.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now, you are a band leader here in the space, and we have chatted on a number of occasions about Carnival in Tobago. We've chatted about Tobago Carnival. We've chatted about the National Carnival. And from all indications, it seems that the band leaders and the Band Leaders Association, want the carnival to continue during the February carnival, or as we call it, the National Carnival. Now, we've heard conversations on all sides. Some persons saying it should continue and it should increase in quality. Some persons saying that it should look different and more attention, focus, and resources should be placed at the October Carnival. But we want to hear from you this morning.
Good morning to everybody. Glad to be here again. Well, I will be honest in everything that I'm saying today. It is our national carnival, and band leaders of Tobago, that is how we make our monies for taking part in the October Carnival, because October Carnival, you put out more than you put out for the National Carnival. And getting rid of the National Carnival in the Tobago space don't make no sense. Because as we say, it is national, Trinidad and Tobago. And we look forward, we the band leaders here, we look forward in showcasing our little talent. It might not be as big as Trinidad, but we are getting there.
Understood. And we see you and your display of your mass band on the stage right now. When it comes to the support that you are used to and the numbers, we know that you usually have a big band or a huge support from the kids coming right up to some of the older folks. Are you seeing a significant decline in the participation?
Well, to tell you the honest truth, when I started out in 2023, I started out with 60 children. And
you started out in?
Oh, 2003, sorry.
Okay.
2003, I slip of the tongue. I started with 60 children. And that was considered a medium band, but I wasn't small. So you had two medium band, myself and Dan McCremon. And then I moved from there and go to medium, and then I went to large. And then sometime, it started to dwindle down, but you still have to try to keep the faith, because it don't make no sense that you have 14, 15, 16, 20 small band and the prices is only from 1 to 8. It does not make no sense. So you have to try your best, which I do. I will send out letters to schools to try to see if I could get the children and them to participate. You will put a price, some will pay, some will not pay. But in all, I love the thing because I come from a family background in mass, and I still try to fight to keep it alive. So, you tell a friend to tell a friend, put it up on Facebook, Instagram, and believe you me, on Carnival Sunday is where the band really grew, because my niece and my mother and them, they went out and asked people for the children who was on the esplanade watching, and say, would you like to play, have the children and them jump up with us, and they say, sure. And lo and behold, we end up with 100 and something children at that point in time. And some people are saying, are we having Carnival? We are not hearing anything. So all of that was a factor of getting children to gravitate.
Right. And even when you look at the numbers that actually come out and support the event, usually you have people lining the streets of Scarborough watching the parade. That did not happen this time around.
I wouldn't really say that it did not really happen. We had people, but then again, you can't blame band leaders. We are not the ones who's doing the advertising. Look at Roxborough. We are not the one that doing the advertising. It's only one band came from Roxborough, and that is Miss Riley Connection. Miss Luan Melville, she's not taking part this year. Her daughter did not bring kiddies carnival this year. So all the bands and them on a whole came from Scarborough region, around that region, Mount Thomas, going up. And I wouldn't say it was a disaster, but it was very hectic.
Understood. We're going to take a quick break right here and we're going to be back right after this as we continue our discussion this morning. See you soon. And welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Now we return and we are still having our Carnival Postmortem discussion. And this morning we are chatting with Miss Marcelin Nedd, who is one of the band leaders here in Tobago. And during the break, we were chatting a bit about sponsorship and what can be done from both the private sector and the stakeholder side to increase the quality of the Carnival here in Tobago Now, the conversation is, we've heard people saying that the promotion wasn't done, Scarborough wasn't decorated, there wasn't the feeling or the spirit in the air of Carnival. However, during the weekend, spending time in Trinidad and observing the Carnival atmosphere, I recognize that a lot of what we call the Carnival spirit was funded by the private sector. You have the B-Mobiles, the Digicels, the Blue Waters, and all these corporate sponsors coming together to use it as a marketing opportunity to get the type of brand visibility that they want. However, when you look in Tobago, you're not seen as much as that. So is it that a number of the stakeholders need to have a deeper connection with corporate Trinidad and Tobago and have the hard conversation about that equitable distribution of funding to increase the quality of Carnival here on the island of Tobago?
I believe so because I wrote to corporate sponsors like B-Mobile, Digicel, National Lottery Board, Blue Waters. These same people didn't ask for much, but didn't got a response. But then when you're watching and you're listening the ad, they sponsored THA, right? So nothing didn't trickle down to we the bands on the ground. It have some, like the Iconic Mass, because they are doing this thing for a long time. So they would have got fully sponsored, but bands like myself who, just was doing the National Carnival itself, they find, well, hey, we don't want to waste we money on them because them ain't getting the maximum people of 500 or wherever. So we don't waste we time with that. We can't vex with them.
Understood. But what about the quality? Don't you think that a number of these corporate sponsors are looking for bands that produce at a certain quality that reflects their own brand? So is it that level of quality needs to increase in what your band and other smaller bands is putting forward to get the type of reception that is needed from corporate Trinidad and Tobago?
Now, being totally honest, when you watch like the Zane, the Iconic Mass, the Jade Monkeys and all of them, you can put all their section together and they look like one band. I want to be totally different. I look for certain masqueraders that, hey, they want to be comfortable in the skin and what I have to offer. Right? Everything is not the beads, the bikini, the tongues and whatever. I do produce that unless you ask for it. I cater for everybody. So you can't class all bands to be the same. You have to look for a band is like a Peter Minshell. Being creative, not looking at all the bands passing and they look the same. So I think corporate sponsors needs to kind of adjust back a little bit and watch and say, well, okay, I see this band here have some potential. Let me see for the first year if we can assist them. You know, even if it's a 4,000 something,
But don't
and see what they will do with it to make themselves.
Right. And usually the National Carnival is sponsored by NCC. But is it possible that the Band Leaders Association can come together outside of the THA and get the sponsorship among themselves and distribute it equitably among the groups so that you have financing from the THA, financing from NCC, financing from the Band Leaders Association, and then your own personal funding that you go about and source by whatever means, as opposed to putting the burden solely on the shoulders of the THA. And when the festival fails, we say, okay, this administration failed, or this version of the Tobago Carnival under this administration is failing, as opposed to seeing that over time, unless the resources are coming from different places and the source of those resources are diversified, then eventually the well will dry up.
Well, I can tell you under Tobago Mass Band Leaders, we have Road to Corporate Sponsor. We have, we'll be having a presentation from the organization. We have gotten trophies sponsored. We had little that, you know, they will corporate sponsors that put in something. Long time under the late Miss Wilma Bedlow, when we were in CBA at that time, P-Mobile used to sponsor Tobago. You had Sunshine used to be sponsored, then Digicel came on board. We have businesses like Mr. Warner, Mr. Ken Hunt, they used to sponsor Hercules. So we had that in all used to, so it used to trickle down to the band leaders and them. We used to have 42 junior bands.
Right. But what do you say to the persons who say, listen, the climate post-COVID is so different from pre-COVID. And so a different approach is needed to diversify the entire thing. And a new creative strategy has to be created so that Tobago is not trying to compete with Trinidad, but to complement what is happening in Trinidad. How do you respond?
No. Through the years, persons from Trinidad come to Tobago, they do play mass with Tobago bands. They do. We do get people from Trinidad playing in Tobago bands. We will get some tourists come in and play with our bands and things. But Tobago culture is very different. The personality, the generation now is different. They will say, I ain't playing no mass, the child going camp. I had plenty parents tell me that. And lo and behold, you see the same children and they're jumping in another band.
Understood.
Right? So it kind of, some wouldn't come out and say, here, we're going to play with another band.
Okay. But okay, there are persons, as I said, creating a creative strategy so that Tobago Carnival doesn't compete with the National Carnival but complements it. Now, Tobago offers a number of different products to Trinidad. We look at the Modern Mud Festival. They have the Mud Mass taking place on Tuesday. What do you say to the persons who say, condense the festival, have all of that richness and the mass happening in October, and focus that National Carnival on those Tobago specific items like the mud mass and those things that are totally different from what's happening in Trinidad, so that persons come to Tobago for a Tobago specific experience, and then you have that larger festival with the Kiddies Carnival and all the kings and queens and all of those displays happening in October. So all the resources and the labor and everything goes to October, creating a huge festival that can compete with carnivals all over the world. And Tobago focuses on creating a Tobago-centric, smaller product during the National Carnival time that has that.
We already have that. That is why Tobago Carnival is small. It is not large. We don't have the heritage, which I am saying honestly right here now is dying also. We are asking, what is the purpose of Festival Commission? Festival Commission is supposed to work along with the other NGOs in trying to produce something for people to come from all over to see what Tobago have to offer. We have plenty to offer, but the festival is fighting down even the band leaders, the band association. You're fighting down. It just does not make no sense. No
But when we
matter
look at
what
it
we
from an
do.
economic perspective,
On
what if the Festival Commission is in a position to say, economically, the National Carnival in Tobago in February is not financially viable to Tobago? How do you respond to that?
you cannot say that it is, but you have to work hand in hand with all the NGOs. Look, this year you had no THA pan champs. Nothing. You have people here in Tobago is pan lovers, as small as it would be, will come out and look forward to supporting the bands of them. I have been to Antigua Barbuda for their carnival in August, which was my birthday. I had a room pump time. And they are not as big as Tobago. Tobago mass is bigger than them. And I had a wonderful time. So we have to work hand in hand. You cannot be say your festivals and you are fighting down. You come and you tell us a budget of 5.3, and up to now, the Tobago organization does not know what is our allocation. Lo and behold, we say a grant to assist bands. And when you go there, furthermore, they say 3/4. When you go, you give a small band $900, which a small band grant was $4,000. A medium grant for juniors was 5,000, and a large was $7,000. What $900 could do, what $1,200 could do, what $1,500 could do. Then a senior band, small was 5,000, medium was 9, and large was 12,000. You cut that down to 7,000 and you give us 3,000. What that could do?
Understood.
You're fighting down the culture and then you're putting it on the band leaders, on the association, when you are the ones who help killing it.
Understood. Now, even in closing this morning, as we round up the discussion, is there anything that you want to recommend moving forward to assist with this national version of the carnival, as well as you currently preparing for October Carnival? What are some of the recommendations that the stakeholders want to make?
Well, I will start with festival. They need to clean up the act in order for the National Carnival to work, and even the October, because if you're saying you're looking at October, you're going to kill it. You are going to kill it. And corporate sponsors, all we are saying to corporate sponsors are band like myself, right to you all, we don't ask for much, assist us along the way, that it will get bigger, better, and brighter. We say Trinidad and Tobago is the mecca of carnival, and we are trying to keep this thing alive, especially in Tobago. So all I'm saying, work with us. Work with us. And we do invite bands from Trinidad who would have that experience to assist other bands to get where we want it to be.
Right. But we look forward to you having one of those strategic partnerships come October 2025, and we hope that it will help you to increase the quality of your production this year and have a larger support.
I do hope so. So I send out the olive branch and let's see where it will.
Okay, well, we hope that you are successful. We have persons out there sending greetings to you this morning. Again, we want to thank you so much for being here and for all the work that you have been doing to contribute to Tobago's carnival culture and just the development of mass on the island. We want to give you your flowers while you're still here.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much, because I'm the oldest band leader that's still standing for 24 years. All the rest has gone, and I'm still here fighting.
We'll keep fighting that good fight. Guys, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we're going to be back right after this. See you soon.